Lift every voice and sing, till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let every sound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won.
Springtime is the best time in the mountains. Red blood and the sorbus in bloom, mountains full of wildflowers. The mayapple, bloodroot, Dutchman's breeches, just beautiful flowers.
My mother loved wild iris so much, that's what she named me.
You know that wild iris, she is a beauty, but she's a fragile flower. A hard rain will knock her bloom right out.
Springtime is graduations and ball tournaments. We love watching everybody's babies come across that stage, don't we, Wendell?
Sure do, baby. Like to watch them play ball. A year ago was the COVID spring. There's people around the world that lost their breath, and a lot of them lost their lives. The governor told us to go to the house and told us to wash our hands every 10 minutes. Didn't he, Cotton?
Making a big fuss, that's for sure. I'm still not sure why.
Last spring, I came home to take care of my granddad. Before that, I took part in protests and demonstrations after 2 white men killed Ahmaud Arbery while he was jockeying. after George Floyd died with a policeman's knee on his neck. I came home thinking I was leaving that work behind.
I don't know why she felt that, because she knows people around here fight for what they believe if they can help it.
I can't breathe in this mask. You know, ever since all this COVID pandemic business, I've been eating a lot of my meals standing over the sink, rocking back and forth, staring out the window. Corn on the cob tastes best standing over the sink.
Plus, you get dinner with a view, and you don't gotta dirty no dishes. My favorite dinner with a view is eating hot bar corn dogs late at night in the Double Quick parking lot. I know you wish I was kidding, but I ain't. You doing all right, Mama?
Oh yeah, baby, I'm fine. I mean, your Aunt Bernice is driving me crazy.
Yeah.
I can't keep her at the house. And then your Uncle Cotton, well, he's a trial, but I'm fine, baby, I'm fine. You know, you don't look like you're getting enough to eat. Why don't you come up here and let me fix you something?
I'm good, Mama. You stay up there.
Huh?
Are you being safe, Mama?
Yeah, baby, as careful as I know how. Where's your Aunt Bernice?
She's at church, Mama.
Now, there's a woman from her aunt's church. She come in the ER the other day. She is coughing, had a fever. It's obvious she had COVID. Doctor told her, "Ma'am, you got COVID." She told that doctor her preacher told her COVID ain't real, and then she just huffed it right on out of there. Not 5 minutes later, here come EMS in with the cops right behind him with this dude that said that he tried to kiss his snake, and it bit him on the nose. He is high as a kite and rough as a cob, and I guess he must have sideswiped 2 or 3 cars coming in, because they come out in force. Now, this one that come in, Lonus, he's good people. That one that's always with him, though, he gets right on my damn nerves.
Please, sir, don't arrest her. She didn't want me kissing her. I was forcing to. It was not consensual.
I'm not here to arrest you, Snake. How would I do that, sir?
And then he looked at me like he was the smartest man in the world and said,
My handcuffs are too big for a snake.
Thank you.
so then I told him, handcuffs, you do realize a snake ain't got no hands, don't you? And then he wanted to pull a big attitude with me, and I told Lonus, you got about 5 seconds to get him or I'm putting him on a stretcher.
That boy got into policing for the wrong reasons. Always bad to fight. But he might figure it out one day. That night him and Farrell got into it, he had a rough week. A lot of domestic violence. A lot of overdose. Always tough when a child dies. Anyway, that doesn't justify bad behavior. But he's one of those macho men has a hard time admitting they're having trouble.
Lord, Brett, bless his heart. Let's make him something.
Now, me and Mama, we don't need to talk about police. You see, she had a policeman stalk her about 2 years ago, smash a buggy into her hip at the Mega Mart. She lost her job over that. But because he had friends in the courthouse, he got away with all of it. And then we had another one who had anger management issues until he finally got transferred down to Georgia somewhere. Personally, I feel safe when cops aren't around.
Now, they copped him too that killed your papa. Now, don't you forget that.
Yes, Mama. You see, when my grandfather was shot, the sheriff caught the ones who did it by that weekend. And I always felt like it was because my family was friends with his family. You know how it is. But if we hadn't been, who knows? Who knows if they would have even caught him? But when I try to bring up funding for the police or all the other bad things Mama knows has happened, she won't hear it.
A few bad apples
will ruin a whole barrel.
Now you come over here. I got you these chicken and dumplings. I got you one for you. And then here's this other for that poor policeman.
Do I? Mama.
Yeah.
I worked with that fella Snaky Dan at my grave digging job. He's a white supremacist. Not a Facebook white supremacist, but fresh out of prison, honky tattooed on his neck, rebel flag half sleeve on one arm, and the Nazi swastika and eagle on the other arm, white supremacist. The real deal. We don't talk about any of those things. Don't talk about much of nothing, really. And then one day while we were working, I looked at him and I said, "Hey, Danny, are you still hardcore racist?" He looked up at me and said, "No." And I asked him about those tattoos he had. And he told me he got them in prison first time he went in. He said the white supremacists in there were the ones that looked out for him, that protected him, and that kept him safe. And then I asked him, since he wasn't in prison anymore, if he was going to get those tattoos covered up. He told me no. And that's when he told me he was still on drugs. And he figured he was going back to prison anyway on account of being super institutionalized. But then he said he might get his tattoos covered up, at least the ones people could see.
I've known that Snaky Dan since he was a kid. A lot of people hate him for those tattoos, but I appreciate him. It helps me to see what's coming.
Early in June, some high school students organized a peaceful demonstration saying it wasn't right for people to die in the streets like George Floyd or in their home like Breonna Taylor. But still, it doesn't matter what they did or what they didn't do.
You see, all I've got to show for all that, son, is 5 beautiful ex-wives, a broke back, and a bass boat that belongs to the bank.
You see that Hank over there? I always thought he was so pretty. He and I went to school together. And when we were in high school, he always sat next to me. He was the type of person that always recognized what other people did. I'd say something and the teacher would ignore me. And he'd say,
"You just said that. You raised your hand and said that, but the teacher's going to ignore you and call on that other kid." The more stuff I pointed out, the more I realized it was happening simply because she was black.
You know, it's easy when you say something and people ignore you to think that you're imagining it. When they make you feel like, you know, you're insecure or what do they call it? Gaslighting. Yeah, that's right, gaslighting. Now Hank there, that little wild child Hank, he was the person that always said, "I see what's happening. I see what you're doing, and I want you to know I see what's happening." I am so grateful to him for that.
Lorna, I'm glad to see Martha's come back. I was getting a little lonesome.
Lonesome? Yeah. Don't let him tell you he's lonesome. He's always going down to the doctor's office with people and going to visit his church people.
Now, we've been having church Zoom since April. And, you know, we always get together, but we keeping people safe, you know.
But doesn't that mask smother you, though?
Lena, you know what I noticed? People fellowship more with this mask on.
It grieves me that some church people thought they had to prove their faith by saying COVID is not real.
And on top of that, 2020 was an election year. And that was a virus in itself. And you know, I was always taught not to mix religion and politics. But I swear, those two have been mixed up all this past year.
That 2016 election was the one for me. I didn't know if I wanted to run or if I felt invisible. People I've known all my life as hardworking, loving, caring people just seem so angry at me, mad at me for living, just like they were spoiling for a fight.
But you back that Black Lives Matter. What is that but terrorism? Have you seen this picture? And this picture? And this picture? Tell me that ain't real.
Cotton, that's not about that. It's about us, feeling like we can't breathe, like we can't live where we want to, like we're invisible, just feeling afraid to walk across town, scared to go to a store, scared to be caught on the wrong side of town.
Oh, buddy, I can relate to that.
Now spring gave way to summer, and that virus kept picking up steam.
Boys, summertime is the best time in the mountains.
I remember we used to go down to the old BTC bus line and get those old tires, you know, and one would get on one end and one would get on the other, and they roll them tires to bust through that line.
And on top of that, we grip you like Huckleberry Finn. We get on those upside down car tops and go down the river.
Oh yeah, and remember when the black pool was over there by the bridge? You remember that? And those teenagers would get you up on that high plank and drop into that 12-foot of water and say, "You better swim or you gonna drown." But they stay right there with us, and we learn to swim.
Now in the summertime, I buy all my vegetables from roadside stands and farmers markets. I eat one homegrown tomato every day. Now, this past August, I got a 5-pound bag of green beans every week. I'd cook some of them with taters, bacon, and onions, but most of them I'd string up to dry to make shucky beans.
Yes, summertime and out running the roads, pushing on Martin's Fork, coming down to Dollywood, maybe up to Cincinnati, see the roads.
There wasn't much running this past summer. That corona kept us all at the house.
That governor kept us at the house.
Protests kept picking up steam, too. Lid blew off in Louisville. People needed reminding how Breonna Taylor was shot in her home by the police. People wanted something done.
That woman was up to something. You know she was.
I don't believe that. She shouldn't have died like that.
You don't know what you're talking about. I heard she was mixed up in drugs.
She was an EMT, man. A first responder. You support first responders, don't you? Up to something. Breonna Taylor was up to something. That's what that man says every time a black person is killed. Says Tamir Rice was up to something when he was killed in the park with a toy gun. Said Walter Scott was up to something when he was pulled over and killed for having a busted tail light. But he didn't say a damn thing about Kyle Wittenhouse when he killed 2 people and went home. When James Alex Fields Jr. ran over and killed Heather Heyer in Charlottesville. How's it okay for blacks to be killed for maybe being up to something, but white people who we see are up to something still have their day in court? But I didn't say that to him. I put myself on mute. Why in the hell did I do that?
Early in June, some high school students organized a peaceful demonstration saying it wasn't right for people to die in the streets like George Floyd or in their home like Breonna Taylor. But still, it doesn't matter what they did or what they didn't do.
We protested in Harlan to show that allies exist in these mountains, that our friends are tired and worried that they might be next. But some people got it in their head that we were going to be violent, that we were going to burn down Harlan, and that we were outsiders.
I heard they're anti-fa. God, they'll not burn our town down. I'll make sure of it.
People couldn't see who we were.
Us having stood right in front of them our whole lives.
But they saw what they wanted to see. My great-grandfather protested in the 1930s and my grandmother in the 70s. And my uncle's family up at Black Jewel just last summer.
And we have things in common with the protesters in Louisville and in Minneapolis.
Now, my papa, he was Antifa. He fought the fascists in France in 1944. Him and Mama left the coal fields as soon as he got back. They told my parents the idea of going back was crazy. And that's what my parents told me. I moved back anyway at the end of May 2020. I was there about a week when I heard about a Black Lives Matter demonstration happening on the bypass.
If you want to protest, I'm okay with protesting. I'm a firm believer you got a right to speak your mind. But you go to messing with my property, with my family, you're taking it a step further, and that's where the evil comes out in me.
That this was happening here meant so much to me, because I want to be able to tell the people in my community about what Black Lives Matters means to me. But I'm very aware that if I do, at a certain point, I become a target. Everyone in my family becomes a target.
Before we went down there, images of violence from other protests swam in my head. The idea of police cracking back of my head with their batons scared me stiff. But I told my partner I thought that we needed to go down there. And I did what I'd seen all the other protesters do on the internet. I put on a handkerchief, turned off face recognition and location tracking on my phone, and then we headed for the huddle house.
That day it was hot, just summer hot.
And when I got down there, I decided I was going to go up on that back parking lot above the huddle house, and I was going to observe, and I got between these vehicles, some trucks, and I noticed that these people were armed and looking out, and they didn't look too friendly, and I thought, I think I'm in the wrong place. So I went down there where preacher was.
Behind us marched from the huddle house parking lot to the bypass. A boy held a sign saying Terry Rice was killed when he was 12. I was 13.
We stood together and we said, I can't breathe. White silence is violence. Black lives matter.
We took a truck full of water bottle out there. Saw a bunch of people we hadn't seen since the Black Joe blockade.
I, of course, had to work, so me and this dude I work with, we sent about 50 pizzas out there. Because I don't know if y'all know this or not, but pizza, that's how we say I love you around here.
A few trucks went by shouting, get a job. A few more went by shouting, all lives matter. But it was mostly support.
I still don't see what they hope to accomplish. Protests ain't gonna bring the mines back. Ain't gonna put nobody to work. Nobody got strangled here. Nobody got shot in their sleep.
Now, the protesters' parents, they were in chairs sitting in the shade of the huddle house. And I noticed these cars going back and forth, and they were blowing their horns, honking their horns, and I thought, I didn't know whether they were for or against the protesters. But when I saw those big 18-wheelers come by, blowing those air horns, I knew it was something big, and I knew it was about us.
And it slowed down all the traffic.
And those Antifa watchers, they kept their powder dry too. And in the midst of the demonstration, I had a vision, right on the floodwall like a movie, of my old neighborhood, Georgetown. And I'm like, I just had this vision about them. The people, how they were in tree-lined streets, and the people just socializing together.
Pop used to live in Georgetown, which isn't there anymore.
Well, yeah, I lived in Georgetown. When I was a kid, I walked a mile from Georgetown to the Rosenwald School, the black school. And in walking there, we would encounter the white kids going the other way, going to the white school, Harlan High School. We walked by, you know, as kids do. We push one, they shove us, but, you know, really nothing happened that was of any significance. But I remember when I was in the 9th grade at Roosevelt, we had been there 1 week. And on Friday they said, we're going down to the white school Monday. And I said, okay. So we got up Monday morning and we went down there, and there was no orientation. Nobody greeted us. We were just out there. And that's how I was introduced to integration.
I used to live in Lynch. Me and the guys go to Georgetown. I had a girl in Clovertown, girl in Georgetown. From 7 to 9, I'd be in Clovertown, and from 9 to 11, I'm in Georgetown. And Gloria is the girl, Clovertown, Gloria, and had Mona in Georgetown. And we tried to get along with them. Loved them both, treated them right, you know.
We had something going on, but Felix was my main man. And when I got tired of him, I told Felix all about him.
Raymond come up to me and he said, Ray, your name Ray? I said, that's what the people call me, you know. He said, and he pulled out his gun. Man, I started running. I ran all the way to the middle of Georgetown Bridge. Man, he shot at me, I ducked. Nah, he missed me. I went back, I started to go, he moved to Detroit. Then I kind of eased back into Georgetown. Georgetown, my town. So I want to go back to Georgetown.
A lot of the mischief that went on in Georgetown was for people coming from other places to do their thing and going back to where they came from.
And a lot of socializing was at a place called the Hall, Pub Hall. It was run by Mr. Alfred Tipman, and he was like, it had it was a dance place in the back, and you can do a little gambling if you wanted to back there too. But up front, they had a barbershop and a place that you could buy dinners.
Remember those people, all those people, Wendy, tell you remember we had all those people with them funny names? We had that lady, I used to call her was Miss Little and we had Miss Creola.
And we had Mr. Gilbert, Mr. Papa.
Yeah.
And don't forget Mr. Screwdriver.
Yes.
You know Mr. When that coal train come down through Georgetown, he'd get up on those train cars and he'd throw that loads of coal back over the ditch line for us. You know, we just
we'd be warm that night. And I remember my mama's house burned down. We moved from there to that alley, Chicken Shack Alley. That's what they used to call it, Chicken Shack Alley. And it was a white lady that lived back there that had a storefront, and she had an apartment building back there. And the blacks and the whites were socialized together. We was together in Georgetown. But now when you left Georgetown, it was a whole different world.
I was raised in Georgetown, one of 14 kids. I've been a police officer here for 19 years. One of the first and sometimes only black police officers. It's not been a gravy train, but I try to be good police. Try to do the right thing. My mother, she was an activist here. She tried to protect her community, tried to save it. Because of her, I know I can stand alone.
Oh man, as a youngster, I couldn't wait until I got old enough to hang out in Georgetown. I mean, I grew up on the stories of folks that migrated to Detroit, Chicago, Philadelphia, Cincinnati, and they come home every payday just to party in Georgetown. But I didn't quite make it. By the time I got old enough, Georgetown was gone.
Pop, tell them why Georgetown isn't there anymore.
Baby, I got to go see a man about a dog. Come back at 5 o'clock and I'll tell you.
Now, these protesters, I don't have no problem with that. But these youngsters didn't invent protesting. These youngsters' story is not being told.
Mm-hmm. You know, I made it all right in the town, and then crack coke come in there. Anyway, we started in the 60s, everything was going all right, and then, you know, everything kind of changed.
Harlan that day. At the demonstration, I found a community that was all the contradictions I had inside of myself. I thought I was going to die that day because all the echo chambers on social media made me believe that narrative. That day made me realize I had to quit listening to voices that say this is how things work. Because things don't always work the way that we're told that they do.
To say all about what's going down here in the USA. People cussing, people fighting, all to be heard. Who's right, who's wrong, who gets in the last word? Love is the answer. Love's the only way. Let's all come together, create a brighter day. Is the answer. Love is the way. Let's all come together, create a brighter day. Children, what are they to believe? Your side or my side, it's so hard to see. Voices from the distance call to show us light, give us hints of purpose, how to get it right. Love is the way. Let's all come together, create a brighter day. Love is the answer. Love is the way. Let's all come together, create a brighter day. Love is the answer. Love is the way. Love is the answer. Love is the way. Love is the answer. Love is the way. Let's all come together, create a brighter day. Love is the answer. Love is the way.
time in the mountains. I love ginseng hunting. I gotta tell you, my dad always told me to bury the berries so more would grow. I remember one time he told me that nature will give you all you need if you treat it right. But this fall, I couldn't find the first plant. People started digging back in March because the work got scarce.
Let me tell y'all about fall. My favorite thing about fall, it's Thanksgiving. Y'all know why? Food, baby! I am talking turkey, gravy, mashed potatoes, rolls. And then, of course, you got broccoli casserole, green bean casserole, sweet potato casserole. I mean, come on, more rolls! And then you have pies. And not just any pies. You have apple pie. You have cherry pie. You have pecan pie. And then, of course, the piece de resistance, or whatever the French word is. You got pumpkin pie. Pumpkin pie, baby.
I remember about Thanksgiving is those days they had the turkey bowl in Georgetown. That's when the old guys, young guys, would play touch football. But there was they didn't have any pads or anything, and it was not touch football.
Of course, Thanksgiving is when my entire family caught COVID. This past fall, there was so much shooting in town. I mean, there was just so much. I know it was hunting season, but you couldn't tell if it was target practice or what.
You remember the election days when they would come over and line up to the streets in Georgetown, and they'd have people out there with sodas and ice cream, and people be out there cooking ribs. Then they'd line them all up that were able to vote and give them $2 and a pint of bourbon to go vote. Remember that?
Now this past fall, that election, it wasn't quite as festive, was it?
Lord, my girlfriend, we ain't got to talk about it. She don't think like the rest of us do. She wouldn't know the truth if it come up bitter and ass.
You know, my preacher says that the truth will stand when the world is on fire.
Lena's girl had the nerve to come up here at Thanksgiving. I'd been mad at her since June when she invited my kids to that damn Black Lives Matter rally. I told her if she ever did anything like that again, I'd kill her.
Cotton, I do not know why you have to act like that. I swear to God, I do not. Now, after the demonstration, I broke up with Gunner. Woo! Yeah! But 5 months later, I'm still living with him. My grandma wants me to come live with her, but I know I can't. She says, why don't you just live with me? But Grandma, I can't stock the aisles of the dollar store from your couch. But I wish I could. These aisles are closing in on me. People treat me like I'm not a person, like I'm invisible. There was this one lady came in. She had just got from the ER. She had been diagnosed with the Rona. She was in there. She wouldn't wear a mask. She was coughing. She was fighting to breathe. And I couldn't check her out fast enough. I don't know if I could live with myself if I packed this home to my mama. Now, I don't love Gunner anymore, but he doesn't deserve to die either. You know, that COVID ran through my sister Bernice's church. And that woman that Dolly's talking about, she goes to my sister Bernice's church. Her name is Vita.
It is so good to be in the house of the Lord tonight. It's so good to have Sister Bernice with us. What an anointed voice she has. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Jesus. Hallelujah. She's not scared of this COVID thing. I'm not scared of this COVID thing. Are you scared of that COVID thing? The women up by Holler are scared to death. I saw one spraying her receipt with Lysol. I don't need no Lysol. I have Jesus as my protector. I don't need Germ-X. He comes right on time, don't he? If people would believe in God like they believe in COVID, that it's in the air, the world would be a better place. We must pray, saints, we must pray. We must pray until we feel the glory of the God. Lord, help us all.
Since I've been in the church, I've seen people healed of heart disease. I've seen people healed of diabetes. I've seen people healed with nervous conditions. I've seen God intervene when the doctors had thrown up their hands and give up. And I have seen that with my eyes over and over and over again. And there's people say to me, "Preacher, that ain't so. Miracles went out with the days of the disciples." And I'm here to tell you, church, it is too so. I've seen it. My God is a good God. My God is a loving God. And that's the God I preach. I don't preach COVID. I don't preach mass. I preach salvation. I preach love and grace and compassion. Because I have known that love in my life. And in that love, I place my faith. Amen. 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 Amen.
Now, I'm not going to say if I think COVID's real or not. I'm going to wear my mask because it's the law of the land, and I obey the law. It's not going to hurt anybody to wear a mask, even if it's not real. Who knows what's real anymore? Who knows if COVID's real? Who knows if the news is real? I don't know what's real anymore. But I can't say none of this to Bernice because she'll want me to go down front and pray. And I don't want to go down there. Maybe if we've got good singers, I'd go down, but if they're not wearing masks, I don't want to go. Now, I'm not scared, but I'm cautious. This world is a mystery. Some parts are real, like when the Holy Spirit moves in me. But other parts, I just don't know.
Y'all, I swear, I woke up the other day and I was feeling awful. And I was shaking and sweating and just so tight in my chest. And Iris, of course, she told me I needed to go on out to the ER and get checked out. So I did, because I love my friend. They started poking me and prodding me. They shoved a Q-tip plumb up my brain. I swear. Awful. And the doctor came back in there and he told me that I had the COVID. And I looked at him, because I am a woman of faith, and I told him that there ain't no such thing as this COVID nonsense. And all of the stuff going on in the world right now is because people need to get right with God. And if people would just pray, then all of this would go away.
When the Lord first blessed me to start a church of my own, that woman right there, Bernice, she was one of the first ones to come with me. Now, she's got the touch of God like nobody I've ever seen. My uncle got his back burned up in a fire. Whole back covered second, third degree burns. He called Bernice, and she blew the fire right out of them burns. I seen her cast 7 demons out of a 13-year-old boy plumb full of the devil. That woman could pray a hole through heaven. And I believe that whatever this is ailing her, if it's God's will, she'll put a whipping on it. Amen. Amen. Amen.
When my baby sister, Bernice, got sick
real bad with that COVID. She wouldn't let me take care of her. She let them women at that church take care of her. Because she said my faith wasn't strong enough to take care of her. And that stressed me out so bad. But then Iris told me about this cooking club she got in on and said they meet over something called the Zoom. Mama? Yes, baby. There's a bear out my window. What? Oh. Yeah, I know that bear, baby. He's been going up and down this creek visiting everybody's house. I think he's running for magistrate. He gonna eat me? Friendly bear?
Now, we've been working our way through Ronnie Lundy's victuals. Last week we made pepperoni rolls.
I don't have no lard. Is it okay to use butter?
It's better with lard, but you can use butter.
Trust in the Lord, honey.
Honey, I got all the vegetables in my pan. It's cooking. What do you mean? What do you want me to do now?
Didn't you read the recipe?
You know, I never follow the recipe.
Well, that's your problem.
Let me just get this out of here. Here, would you clean that up, please? Oh, no, wait. You can't just leave it like that. Wash that out.
The bigger the mess you make, the better it's going to be.
Oh, wash that out. You know how to do that. Stir it around a little bit. Take that brush. Clean it out. There you go. That looks pretty good. Okay.
Where's the cheese in this recipe? I don't see any cheese.
I don't know about you all. We got a ton over here. Kyle's been cutting the cheese all night.
What does all y'all's dough look like? I don't think mine looks right.
Can you hear me? Can you see me? Are you there? Say something.
Have y'all started planting your peas yet?
I'm planting my peas in buckets this year. I'm having a bucket garden.
You know, they don't have pickle beets in the store. They're out.
Y'all, I fixed me some beets the other day in the pressure cooker, and they turned out real good. Ooh, I'm gonna have to try that. Y'all, ever since this pandemic business, my mind has been like an etch-a-sketch. I can't remember nothing. I forgot I ate all them beets, and then the next day when I went to the bathroom, did y'all know that beets turn your doo-doos bright red? I thought I was dying.
I have learned so much. It takes me straight back to my mom. My mom was always cooking. Honey, she'd have just homemade biscuits, fried chicken, fried corn, ooh, peach cobbler, chocolate pie. She always was cooking a bunch of food. You know, she had about 9 kids, so we had plenty of food. And she let anybody come over.
Lord, I loved your mother.
Honey, I used Pillsbury Crescent Rolls. I had 3 Zoom calls and 3 babies hanging my hip. And they say cheaters never prosper.
Right after the election, I came home from work one day and I found a note that Iris had left for me. It said her coughing had got worse and she'd gone to the emergency room. Before I could get out the door, she came in and she said,
Well, they say I got COVID.
Iris, you need to stay home.
It's okay. Bernice is going to come take care of me.
Honey, Bernice is sicker than you are.
No, Bernice is better, and that had restored my faith.
Now, once we found out that Iris also had the COVID, we got proactive about it, you know. Did her just like my granny used to do us. I got one of them steam vaporizers and the good Vicks Vapor Rub, the name brand kind. And we rubbed it on her little feet, and I popped her little socks on over top of it. And I touched her little forehead, and I swear, y'all, it was hotter than a stove eye. And we started praying and singing, asking the Lord to move that good healing energy over top of her. If it be His will, you know. We put it in God's hands.
That night, Iris was coughing so much, I had to go to the basement so I could get some sleep because I had to work the next day. When I got up and went upstairs, she told me she thought she was feeling better and be all right if I went on to work. And we texted back and forth several times during the day. You know, I was checking on her. When I got home, I found her laying on the floor, barely breathing. And I got her in the car and I took her to the emergency room. And they took her back. And they come back and they told me they'd put her on a ventilator and they'd give her all kinds of drugs. And I couldn't go back there. And she died the next day, all by herself back there. People, I don't know what to do. I need y'all to pray for me. Really. I need you to pray for me. I've been having some bad thoughts.
To hear the truth, it's hidden in your conscience, all of us to use. It's not precious coins or diamonds or some commodity. It's in your ear, it's on your tongue for all of us to see. So don't let your mind go where it shouldn't go. Don't let your mind go where it shouldn't go. Let's show love for our brothers and forgive everybody too. For is there no reward, 'cause someone just don't think like you? Let's all come together and let's all shine a light on the darkness in this world, and let's all get it right. And don't let your mind go where it shouldn't go. Don't let your mind go where it shouldn't go. You know the secret, and now you know the plan, 'cause the future of us all indeed lies in our own hands. We can rock a song tomorrow and listen to the call, or strike out in anger and become a wrecking ball. So don't let your mind go where it shouldn't go. Don't let your mind go where it shouldn't go. Don't let your mind go where it shouldn't go. Don't let your mind go where it shouldn't go. Go. Don't let your mind go where it should go.
Well, I know many people disagree with me. Well, but winter time is the best time in the mountains.
Wow. Man, you done lost your rabbit-ass mind this time, Snake. Winter's the worst. I hate winter. If winter was a person, I'd shoot him just for being winter. Wow.
Boys, I'm telling you, a big good snow turns the world quiet. The power goes out, but you don't care, because you have a wood stove and a pile of firewood. You light it up, get out guitar, play a little something. Well, you might hear a wheeled truck spinning somewhere on top of the hill. Well, what you do, you bundle up, get a chain in the back of your truck, and go help them get out the ditch on the top of the hill. Oh yeah. Then you bring them home, make them coffee, while your socks dry. Let the dogs in the house, and the cats. Ain't anything nicer. Well, if you're ready for it. Oh, it's...
I love Christmas.
Oh, you know what I love? Snow cream. The real kind, made with a can of sweetened condensed milk.
Valentine's Day comes in winter.
This winter was rough, though. A lot of death. Dr. Carolyn Sunday, a lot of others.
This winter was scary.
I'm so grieved. I hate it so that we lost Iris.
Hey, Bart, I haven't seen you since the rally.
Yeah, how's it going with that?
Still raising money for the Bail Fund in Louisville. Still sending support to protesters. We miss you.
That's great. I hope it works out for you all. I'm behind you 1,000%.
Y'all? We're y'all now?
I don't mean it like that. It's just, I feel kind of wrong trying to lead it and be in it as a white person. This is something that should be black-led and black-owned. I'm not trying to steal black people's thunder.
Don't do it for black people. Do it for yourselves. Talk to your own, like your buddy Snaky Dan.
Hey, he's doing better. Since I got him to talk about his tattoos, he's been a lot more open, a lot more talkative. He told me how in high school, his junior year was the best year of his life. How he was on the basketball team and how he had a girlfriend. But then he got on drugs and went to jail. And he's been back and forth between jail and rehab ever since. But he's still working with me at the graveyard and still trying to get clean. Don't get me wrong. He's got to be held accountable for being a racist. But even the worst person in the world is still a person. I think you got to support people where you can. Not in being a white supremacist, but in trying to get clean. I think it's good to humanize people, or at least not push them so far away that they go down their own rabbit hole.
That man sounds like what my daddy called a Mississippi white mouth mule. You might see him different if you were standing on my side of the fence. Poor him. Got put in jail. Like that explains everything.
AC, that ain't helping.
from across this picket line? Can I reach the souls that need me in time? Can I reach you in the darkness with my light? I can try, I can try, I can try, well try. The differences we make, how much more can we all take? And the pressure to give in will bleed us dry. And no one's perfect, all have sinned, only saints can enter in. Can we learn to care enough to lay this down?
Y'all ready to talk about Georgetown?
Yeah. When they built the bypass, they were going to put the field dirt from the cut through in Georgetown. Raise Georgetown up out of the floodplain. Then there were going to be all kinds of stuff over there. So they started trying to clear everybody out. First they tried to buy people's houses. Then they tried to condemn them. That was a shame. They didn't have nowhere to go.
A lot of people left, afraid they were going to lose their house.
A lot of people moved up to the new projects in Fairview. Didn't nobody want to go to no projects.
Then the people started forming a committee to sue the city and trying to stop them from condemning their homes. And then they said that they were going to sue the landlords because they weren't putting as much money into the Georgetown community as they had in other communities, which was making it be run down. Then the landlord said they weren't going to do nothing because they was going to take the property anyway.
People just disappeared. And my grandmother said she was not going to move up in those properties, so they didn't have back doors. And she was not going to live in a place that didn't have back doors.
Yeah. They just act like we was invisible. They didn't even ask us what we want.
They just washed their hands at Georgetown. I tell you what they did. They said, well, if they don't want to do the plan we gave them, so we'll just let them sit there and we'll let the neighbor take the school. You remember? Yeah. 77, flood. Yeah. Flood hit. There was no more talk about revitalizing Georgetown after that.
Wash their hands of us. That's what they said. Just like we was a coronavirus.
That kind of history doesn't get taught in schools. Not in Black History Month, not ever. We get raised to know there are always holes in the story.
Those black holes can fill up with anger.
Iris's funeral was in December. They had it down at the church by the flood wall. I hear there was a whole gang of people there, 200 or maybe 300. And I don't doubt it. Iris was a good woman. But I didn't take no part in it. There's a rock out behind our house that looks out over the valley below. That's where I was the morning of the funeral when that preacher come a-hunting.
Whenever Wendell didn't show up to Iris's homegoing, we went up to the house looking for him. And when he wasn't there, the preacher asked me where I thought he might be. So I showed him on up to Wendell's Rock.
Wendell, honey, we sure would love to see you down there at the service if you was a mind to come. We thought the world of Iris, and I know you did too. And I know she wants you to be there, Wendell.
That flew all over me. That man thinking he would know what my Iris would want. But I told myself I wasn't talking to that man. I just got up off the rock and started walking away.
It'd about have to be the devil keep a man from his own wife's funeral.
How many of you reckon's gonna be wearing masks down there at your house of worship today? That's what I thought. I swear to God, I never would have thought an epidemic would change the way we treat each other. I'll say it right. I would have thought it would have brought us closer together. You know, love your neighbor as yourself. But this thing is tearing us apart. It's destroying us. And politics in the pulpit is as much to do with it as anything.
Wendell, you best not let the tempter steal your mind and your grief, son.
Preacher, you need to go.
No, you need to pray.
Preacher, I'll tell you who I want to pray with. I want to pray with Iris. I want to pray with my wife. You see that rock? That's where we took our prayers together. That's where we bent our knee. When it got dark, we didn't know what way to go. We prayed there together. Asked God for guidance. We prayed there when I got a job offer to go to Knoxville. We felt led to stay. That's where we prayed for peace when we lost the baby. And that's when we prayed when she felt led to leave our church and join yours. And I told her, you've got to follow where God leads. You've got to listen to that voice in your heart.
He will guide us, Wendell, if we'll just get still and...
She got guided, all right. She got guided right out of the good sense God gave her. Right down into her grave.
Wendell, honey.
Bernice, just take this man away. you live with snakes and not get bit? Some say, just don't go where snakes go. That works if you know a snake's a snake. But sometimes a snake ain't a snake all the time. Sometimes you don't know it's a snake until you get bit. Some say, just ignore a snake. Just walk away. That makes sense. Unless the snake's your sister, or your boss, or he's been your best friend since you were just kids. That's a lot of ignoring.
My uncle and I haven't had the best relationship. And when I invited my cousins to the Black Lives Matter protest, he threatened to kill me. Me. You know, the girl he's watched grown up, his own flesh and blood. He threatened to kill me. He chose white supremacy and his beliefs over family. And when I asked him, I said, can we talk about this? My Aunt Bernice jumped in and said, why you gotta keep stirring up the pot? Why I gotta keep making things difficult? Why you gotta keep talking about all this Black Lives Matter business, or talk about LGB, CDEFG rights, you know? Why do you have to talk about it? Because, you see, and it's something that I believe in, something that I'm passionate in, and I bring it up, it's just another thing I do wrong. My Aunt Bernice and I love her. She's one of my best friends, but God, we don't agree sometimes. And you know, she says this phrase. She says, I don't have to like you to love you. I don't have to like you to love you. Which is a whole lot different. A whole lot different than I love you no matter what, isn't it? It's so different. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm so tense. And I'm stressed, and I'm overwhelmed, and I am drowning. I am suffocating, gasping for air. It is like I have been thrown into a river. And I'm just sinking under the weight of everybody's expectations.
So every year at our church, we would have a homecoming celebration. It was kind of like a birthday celebration for our church. And the older people would come, and then young people would come, and they would share stories about how they reminisced of how the church was and their childhood. And it was so much fun that I was going to throw one, since we haven't had one since 2016. And then the election happened, you know, and things just changed. And I started getting phone calls and letters saying that they weren't coming because they felt like they weren't welcomed back into the church or even to our hometown. And it hurt me. It broke my heart.
I don't know about y'all, but healthcare workers right now, especially nurses, we're tired. We're sad, and we're tired, and we're honestly a little bit angry. When all of this first started, we were terrified. We didn't know what this disease was.
We didn't know how it was transmitted, and we sure didn't know how in the world we were supposed to treat it. It was going into work every single day, afraid that you were going to get infected and that then you'd bring it home. Systems that were supposed to be in place were failing, one right after another, after another, after another. Hospitals never had enough anything. There were never enough gloves, beds, masks. But you went in anyway. You went in every day in a mask that's supposed to be worn one time and threw away, and you wore it until it fell off your face. And you didn't go home. Some people moved into motels. Some people moved campers into their front yard just to protect their family. Personally, I haven't saw my parents face to face in about a year and a half now. But we get up every single day and we go in there and we do our job.
Now we're almost a year out and shit has got real. It feels like nurses have been left high and dry. Hospitals still call us heroes, but most of them refuse to give us hazard pay. We are expected to go above and beyond with less staff, less support than we've ever had. Every shift is honestly overwhelming. And you're surrounded by the dead and the dying. They came out with a vaccine for COVID, but in a lot of places, come to find out the administrators and the people who never have contact with the patients, they're getting to receive theirs first. And if that doesn't feel like a slap in the face, patient care ratios are straight out the window. Before the pandemic, you might have 2 critical care patients during your shift. And once you had those patients, you didn't get any more. Now, you can expect to have 3 or even 4 critical care patients and still be expected to take on more.
If you ask for help, you're told there's not none. And if you complain, you're assured that everybody is doing the absolute best that they can, but rules are different now because it's COVID. But you know what? We're going to give you this pack of ink pens and we're going to give you some cold pizza because you're a hero. And in the meantime, people are dying. Nurses are dying. And you go in and you do the best that you can, and you're working so hard and you're trying to be everywhere at once, and you even take your own phone out and you let people FaceTime their family. Because you know it's the last time that they are ever going to see each other again. And every single time that you do it, it rips your heart right out of your chest. But you keep going and you do it again and again and again. A couple weeks ago, I got off of my 6 12-hour shift in a row and I got home alone. And I sat down on the couch and took my shoes off, and y'all, I cried. I guess I cried for probably about 20 minutes. Sometimes all of that grief and all of that stress hits you and it has to go somewhere, so I just cried. And then I decided I'd pull myself together, and Landon mentioned this cooking club on Zoom, so I thought maybe I'll do that. But the phone rang, and it was work. Everybody had called in that night and could I come in for just a few more minutes, and they'd even pay me extra. I went to put my shoes on and I couldn't do it. I felt so alone and just so suffocated by everything that I didn't think I was going to be able to move. So you know what I did? I put my damn shoes on and I went to work. Being a nurse during COVID, it feels endless.
There's an older couple lives up the way here. He walks up to work every morning and home every evening. I hadn't seen either one of them for a while. I didn't think much about it. It's normal, too normal, not to see people in the COVID days. But a neighbor called and said something wasn't right over there. And even when we went to check, The woman wouldn't let him in. I went over there. The husband had been dead, the coroner said, for at least 30 days. That woman had been sitting with him all those days, all by herself. Said she didn't have anyone to call. I don't feel that was her failure. For a person to feel that alone in the world, the failure is all on all of us. It's bad when you're alone in the world and don't have nobody to talk to. That's really a sad situation.
My ex was horrible to me. He beat me and he cussed me. And he told me that no one else in the world would ever want me and how lucky I was that he let me stay. And one day I had to go to the church food pantry because he blew all of our money on God knows what. And I was in there and I just lost it in the canned goods. And along came Iris. And I swear, y'all, God's own angels in heaven could not have given me more comfort in that moment than that woman did. She asked me, she said, honey, what is wrong? And it all just came pouring out of me. And she started taking me to church with her. I started going every Wednesday and Sunday. I shed that man, and I got lighter and lighter. Her and Wendell let me stay with him until I found a place. Iris meant the world to me, and I would have done anything for her. Anything.
I was up at the Capitol back on January 6th, you know? It's one of my buddies, just after Christmas, he said, it was paying for buses and hotels, and all we had to do was get up to Lexington, and he'd take us there. I was thinking, hey, I'm still a way off. Might as well. And sounds like fun. Sounds like it might be another sport. Thought we'd go up there and twist them politicians' tails just a little bit. Things got kind of wild there, didn't they? Used to be what happened at the state at sport. Used to be you didn't take pictures. Now everybody took themselves one of these things. And they like to post about every little thing of their lives. But anyway, if you see the FBI, you tell them I was with you, okay?
One night, between Thanksgiving and Christmas, it was late night, heading in the morning, and I was in the living room by myself, and all the weight of living as a black person just came down on me. The pain, the mourning all the black life lost. I thought of the tears of my mother, watching her child die on the internet, over and over. I got on my knees and it all poured out. Fear, anger, mourning, they all flowed out of me all at once. I stayed on my knees, praying. Please, protect my family. Help us make it through this. Help something to come of this. Help people start shifting. I prayed with all my might for there to be a shift.
There has to be a shift.
There's got to be a shift.
There has to be a shift.
There has to be a shift. There has to be a shift. There has to be a shift.
There has to be a shift. There has to be a shift. Lord, please let there be a shift.
I believe I might be ready for a shift, if it was a good one. Hey, Mona.
How you been keeping?
Can't complain. Well, I could, but who's gonna listen?
Hey, I heard you were in D.C. back in January. You go up to the Capitol?
I was. Yeah, I sure was up there.
Did Brenda go with you?
No, we split the blanket just before Christmas.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
That's okay. Felicia and I went down to Gatlinburg last weekend and tied the knot.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. And Mona?
Yes.
I didn't do that. I didn't do that to hurt anybody. I certainly didn't do that to hurt you.
Don't you worry about it, baby. My mama taught me a long time ago, other people's hate is not my problem. I'm not who they think I am. I know my name.
I guess there's a lot of hate on both sides.
Have you had your vaccination?
I got jabbed 3 weeks ago.
Well, come on. You gonna be all right. You just keep on stepping. It's gonna be all right. The nerve of that man whispering in my ear. To hell with him. To hell with all of them. Acting like losing an election or storming the Capitol is the same thing as trying to get white people's feet off of black people's neck where it's been for 500 years. Can you see me? Does anybody see me?
Mona, I've never seen you like this.
You didn't tell him none of that, Mona. Why didn't you tell him those things when you had the chance?
You look at Lena's face and you tell me why. I can't be that angry black woman.
What are you talking about, honey? You can tell me anything.
Lena, that mask isn't the only thing that will smother a person. Can you see me, Lena? Do you understand where I'm coming from? Are you afraid of me now?
No, I'm not afraid of you.
I know you're not. But your family, that Cotton, he is. And that's what I've got to worry about.
Mona, I'm sorry.
Sorry for what?
Mona, I'm sorry for being blind as a bat, for not seeing what you're going through, for not listening to what you're trying to tell me, for not putting in the work to be a better friend or a better ally, but I don't know what to do.
Listen, I don't blame you. And I have to forgive you for my sake. I have to forgive you. Besides, didn't you tell me you were going to give me some sorghum for that cake recipe for the cooking club?
Yeah.
So Vera, was it really that bad?
Let me put it to you this way. I had 4 people couldn't breathe, but I couldn't be in there with them because I was on the phone with this crazy lady throwing a fit because she couldn't come back and be with her husband. And it wasn't like the man was dying. He had a Twizzler stuck in his ear.
A Twizzler?
Yes, girl, a Twizzler. Apparently he'd been trying to clean his ear out and he broke a piece off in there. And it's this big emergency all of a sudden. And she saw somebody come in with their service dog. So she started cussing me and saying, that dog come back there, why can't I come back there? And I saw y'all let that dog come back there, why can't I come back there? Finally, I just said, madam, do you happen to be a service animal? Well, she hung up on me. I'm probably gonna get fired. Well, not fired, they'll write me up. They ain't gonna fire me. They can't.
Lord Farrah, honey, I see a ghost. How are you doing?
I'm good, Lena. I figured I'd show up, and I'm hoping y'all can show me how to make this cake. I can't show up to that funeral with no food, and you know I don't cook.
Baby, you know we will.
Does anybody want to help me cook a snake? See, my mama killed one in her garden this morning, and I read on the internet that if you fix it just right in the air fryer, it'll taste just like chicken.
How come everything tastes like chicken?
Chicken's delicious.
I thought thought we were cooking a sorghum cake. My garden snake. Y'all got y'all sorghum. I got mine.
My granny used to say, if you kill a rattlesnake before it sings, its babies will never learn how to sing. That's what she called rattlesnake rattle, singing. If little babies don't grow up not knowing how to sing before they strike, that it makes more dangerous. All babies must learn how to sing, or we're all in trouble. If you lose a parent, and it doesn't matter if you're a little kid or a little snake, it's a trauma. And the trauma puts a hurt in you, and it leaves on a hurt in you, whether you act like it does or not.
I don't see why we're talking about this.
Look, in my work, I see so much evidence of trauma. Homes with physical, emotional, and sexual abuse. People neglected physically and emotionally. Kids growing up around mental illness. Mamas getting beat up. Drugs, broken homes, loved ones incarcerated. It's so widespread you stop seeing it. We got to get together and love one another. This world is in a bad situation.
You stop seeing it. You stop being able to talk about it.
But you must talk about it. You can put this trauma down, and it'll stay there 1 year, or stay there 20 years. But it'll surface eventually, and you'll have to deal with it. Everyone around will have to deal with it. Because people with trauma are going to act out. Something hurt them, something of them got broke. They're going to act out of this pain.
We have to make it so people can say, I'm having a problem here. We have to take care of them when they do. Tell them it's okay to not be okay. We think we all have to be so brave, so stoic. We think we have to hold it in. We don't.
Hell yeah, we do.
Lena, I've heard about enough.
Uncle Cotton, won't you hush? I'm talking to people. Now listen, when we are with each other,
denial. Just plain denial. Deny what you see and what you know you see.
We gotta make them see us.
We can't let them see us. They will crush us.
Acting like you don't know what love is.
What can I do to make you feel safe?
now, what about when we are with each other?
Denial. Nothing but denial. Deny what you know you see.
We think we have to hold it in, but we don't.
We can't.
We gotta make them see us.
Remember, Peter denied Christ 3 times.
And remember, there's nobody so blind as a person that will not see.
All closed eyes ain't sleeping and all goodbyes ain't gone.
After Iris died, my sister Bernice went straight down. She died on Palm Sunday. And that just devastated my sweet baby daughter, Brett. She loved her Aunt Bernice so much. And they were so much alike. Neither one of them could stand to see anyone suffer. Not even our hateful old Uncle Cotton, who went all to pieces when Bernice died. There Brett goes now, taking them some chicken and dumplings up to his house.
You know, Bernice's funeral was the most closest thing to normal we've had in a while. Now, some of the service was on Zoom, but those that had been vaccinated, they came out to fellowship. And you know what? It was out there in the open. Bernice wanted it in the open. She loved outdoors.
Bernice taught me that God's church is everywhere.
My sweet baby Brett spoke at the service, and I was so proud. The Greek goddess of rainbows and messages. Her name is Iris. And I know my Aunt Bernice wouldn't want me talking about goddesses, but I think she would want me to call on Iris's name, as well as the name of the other saints. There was one time that I was very mad, and I was so angry with this place and I couldn't wait to leave that I went to Aunt Bernice's place. And there she was on the rocking chair in her front porch with Mona and Iris, and they were getting ready for decoration day. And they ignored me. Because they were talking about all the important things. Sinners, saints, backsliders. How that one fabric department and Megamart, it went downhill since that lady from Tennessee transferred over. The important things, you know, more important than me. But finally she looked at me and she said, "Baby, what's got your panties in a twist?" And so I told her. I told her how I was mad, how I was angry, how I couldn't wait to leave, get out, be free, how I was never coming back here. And she said, "Baby, put your fist up. Come on, y'all do it with me." She said, "Look at those angry knuckles. Look at those sharp, rigid knuckles. They look like nothing around here. They're filled with anger. But if you loosen them, if you soften them, if you spread them out and connect them, those knuckles, they look like that ridge line right over there. Purple Mountain Majesty." She said, "You aren't just from here. You can't leave here because you aren't just from here. You are here. And everywhere you go, you will be here because here ain't here without you." And that goes for everyone. Everyone that's ever lived here, everyone that ever will live here, everyone that has lived here. This place made you. So, Bernice Sampson, in all of your complicated and loving glory, I remember you.
Papaw, with your sternness and your still atmosphere of love and the care that you carried and all your wisdom, I remember you.
Alandria Williams, for the strength you shared with us, I remember you.
Margaret Eastridge, for your unending amount of kindness and your everlasting friendship, I remember you.
My dad, Robert Major, I miss you because of your gardening and your love that you gave to us. I remember you.
This is in remembrance of my niece, Dr. Carolyn Sunday, who gave me the strength and courage to be in higher ground. I remember you.
My grandmother, Elizabeth Walker, you are my everything. You are the reason that I am the woman that I am today. I remember you.
Mama Bear, sitting at your table, being part of your family. I remember you.
London, Missouri Cottrell, my grandmother. You believed in me when no one else did. You was by my side. You supported me even when I was wrong. You chastised me, but you let me know that there would be better days ahead, and I remember you.
For Papa and Guy, and Grandma and Grandpa Major, everything that you did for me and my parents and my sister, I remember you.
In memory of Marcus Fields.
Michael Corston, I remember you.
My dear Aunt Elsie Asher, I remember you.
Sharon K. Bryant, you were my last aunt before COVID took you. I remember you.
And when my pop was tired of looking at your face and ready for you to go back where you came from, he'd always say,
"Here, let me fix your life when you're halfway home."
My daddy would say the same thing. And then he'd say, "Let me know when you get there."
Because I miss you already.
Let it shine.